Have you ever felt like your brain is just stuck in a worry loop that you can't possibly escape? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into the neuroscience that can help you understand, manage, and, ultimately rewire that very habit for good.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Stuck on that mental hamster wheel, just replaying the same anxious thoughts over and over and over again. It can feel completely exhausting and totally out of our control.
But here's the game changer. What if worry isn't some inevitable truth about the world? What if it's just a habit, a pattern your brain has learned? Because the really good news about habits is that they can absolutely be changed. So let's kick things off with this new perspective on worry. And look, this isn't just some feel-good mindset shift. It's actually grounded in the science of how our brains work.
This right here, it reframes everything. The old view treats worry like it's an uncontrollable fact that's always predicting danger. But the new view sees worry as a habit we can actually rewire and replace. This simple shift moves you from being a passenger to being the driver of your own mind.
In this roadmap, it isn't guesswork. It comes straight from neuroscience. In fact, a lot of these tools were first developed to support autistic adults, which just goes to show how powerful they are at calming the nervous system for literally everyone.
All right, let's get practical. We are going to open up a toolkit with 3 powerful, science-backed strategies you can use to interrupt that worry cycle the second it starts.
So, tool number 1 is called affect labeling. Now, that might sound a little complex, but I promise it's incredibly simple. It is just the act of naming what you're feeling.
So what does this actually look like? It's as simple as pausing and just stating the obvious, even just to yourself. Okay, I'm feeling anxious. Or maybe you notice the physical sensation. Wow, my chest feels really tight with worry. The key here isn't to judge the feeling, but just to observe it and name it. So why does this simple trick work so well? Well, naming the emotion basically brings the logical part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, online. And that, in turn, helps to calm down your brain's alarm system, the amygdala. It's like turning down the volume on that internal alarm bell just by putting a name to what's happening.
But sometimes just naming the feeling isn't quite enough, because worry is also super physical. To really truly calm the mind, you often have to start with the body and activate its natural calm switch.
Simple physical actions can make a huge difference. Things like making your exhale longer than your inhale, splashing some cold water on your face, or even just gentle humming. All of these things activate something called the vagus nerve. Think of it as your body's built-in calm switch, a direct signal of safety you can send straight to your brain.
Now for our third tool, which tackles a really specific kind of worry. Have you ever had a thought that just will not go away, just looping and looping? That's probably the Narnik effect at play. Our brains are basically hardwired to obsess over things that feel incomplete.
So here's the crucial part. You don't have to finish the entire task to stop the loop. Not at all. You just have to give your brain a plan. Writing down the very next concrete step is enough to signal to your brain, hey, this is handled, and it can finally let go.
The key is to transform a vague worry into a specific concrete action. So a worry loop sounds like, I have to pay more bills. But an action step, that sounds like, step 1, check my balance tonight at 6 p.m. See that tiny shift? It gives your brain a specific command it can actually do, which lets it finally release that nagging anxiety.
Okay, so we've covered how to interrupt worry in the moment. Great. Now let's shift gears from defense to offense. How can we proactively train our brains to expect positive outcomes instead of constantly bracing for danger?
I mean, think about it for a second. Top athletes don't just practice physically. They spend hours visualizing success. They mentally walk through the perfect game, the winning shot. So what if we could apply that exact same principle to our own lives?
Well, guess what? We can. The technique is called episodic future thinking, and it's all about the deliberate practice of imagining a successful future event with so much detail that your brain actually starts to believe it's real.
And here's the how-to. This isn't just about thinking, oh, I hope it goes well. No. It's about closing your eyes and building the scene. Where are you? Who's there with you? What can you hear?
And most importantly, what does it feel like in your body to have already succeeded? You're basically creating a neuro blueprint for success.
So we have these amazing tools, but how do we make them stick, right? How do we make calm, not worry, our brain's default setting? Well, the answer lies in the incredible science of how our brains can change. And the key word here is neuroplasticity. This is the groundbreaking discovery that our brains are not fixed. They are constantly changing and adapting based on what we repeatedly think and do. Honestly, this is the science of hope.
Think of it like this. Your worry habit is a well-worn path in your brain. It's super easy for your thoughts to travel down it. But every single time you use one of these tools, you label a feeling, you take a deep breath, you visualize success, you're starting to carve a new path. And over time, that new path becomes the easier, more automatic route for your brain to take.
And that really brings us back to the most important takeaway here. The feeling of worry is powerful. It feels completely and totally real. But we have to remember that it's often just a mental rehearsal for a catastrophe that will probably never happen. It's just your brain practicing danger.
By using these tools, you can choose to practice something else instead. You can practice calm. You can practice possibility. You can practice success. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the one worry you can start to rewrite today?